Business that benefits society, technologies that make the world more convenient. Each issue of our program introduces you to people who build the future on the basis of the latest developments, principles of high social responsibility, and a caring attitude towards nature. The world of startups showcases advanced high technologies and their integration into all spheres of our modern life.
Scientific journal as startup. How does the platform KASE startup work? Platform for searching language courses. The future of print media is unpromising, but not for OYLA magazine. The potential of this popular scientific publication is growing every year. In 2018, the magazine appeared on the shelves of New Zealand, Australia and South Korea. The domestic media startup will compete with the oldest scientific publications in Europe with 8 European countries. A key feature of our magazine is that we're trying to integrate educational material into the magazine itself. In our magazines, you very rarely find news content that something was discovered somewhere, but we will definitely tell you why it was discovered or how it was discovered. We will describe this experiment, explain why it is important, give a new perspective, and we will try to relate this to the fundamental things that are already known. Today, the cumulative edition of the edition is 38,000 copies. 20,000 of them are printed in Kazakhstan in Russian and Kazakh languages. Since publishers position their offspring as a family magazine, it can be assumed that the monthly coverage of the Kazakhstan audience is 80,000 people. That is, one copy passes through the hands of 4 readers. 40 authors from Kazakhstan and near abroad work on its content to be interesting to everyone, young and old. All the dates, all the names, all the numbers, all are very carefully verified. We pass on the article several times to each other so someone can look at the article with a fresh eye, because in the end children read our magazine, and children should receive scientific information in an interesting form. Monetization of printed media is carried out according to 2 classical models. The first is a subscription through an affiliate retail network. The second is the placement of advertising. Today the magazine runs the School of Science, which in the future perhaps will become the 3rd source of income for the editorial board. In this school, children study in depth the topics outlined in the periodicals. 2 months ago, we launched a full-fledged school with a capacity of 90 people, including an inclusive team. This school is not classical, it is a school of additional education. We teach in our free time, before or after school, in the direction of the natural sciences. We have classes of chemistry, biology, physics, computer science and math. There are 15 people in each group. Lectures are held outside the box. For example, children can analyze or even fantasize how scientists came to these or other discoveries and what they were looking for. The first hour we work by the Revins method. This is when we choose a topic, read it in paragraphs and then tell them to each other. Every paragraph we tell to different people. After that, one of us goes to the board and speaks on his topic. With the same unconcealed interest, the multicolored pages of the popular science edition will soon be read by European school children. Already in June of this year, the first 30,000 copies of OYLA will be published in Germany, and perhaps under a different name. For example, Schlau, which means smart. But at the same time, 95% of content will remain Kazakh, as the content of the magazine is the main competitive advantage of the domestic media startup in foreign markets. The company Uber has acquired the service Jump Bikes, which deals with the rental of electric bicycles. Officially, the amount of the deal is not disclosed, but the publication TechCrunch, with a reference to the source, says that it is close to $200 million. Uber became interested in this sector not only because of its rapid growth, but also because the company is preparing for that moment in the future when people stop buying cars. The Boring Company, launched by Elon Musk for the construction of tunnels under Los Angeles, attracted the first investment of $112 million. Most of these funds were invested by the founder of the startup. At the same time, the name of the Musk itself does not appear in the documents of the company. Director of the Boring Company is SpaceX engineer Steve Davis, and Jared Burchell is the executive director. Earlier, the Boring Company earned money on non-core projects, for example, selling caps and flamethrowers. The Kazakhstan Stock Exchange launched its own startup platform. It is intended for the formation of communications between novice businessmen and investors. Within the framework of KASE, startup participants will be given the opportunity to conclude transactions at the stock exchange for the purchase and sale of stakes in the capital of companies through professional stock market participants. Of course, if these enterprises meet three important criteria. The first thing, it must be a private limited company. The second, this company must have either sales, we must know that the market has somehow checked it and trust this product, or the company already has an investor. Accordingly, we understand that the investor has already checked it, trusts the idea of this company, and already invests money in it. Or our partner, an accredited business incubator, which took on some obligations for the startup, brings this company to us. After receiving accreditation for KASE, the startup automatically becomes a public company. But at the same time, basic information about the business plan, the monetization model and cash flows will be available only to the investor through the personal cabinet. Today, the system has already registered 5 investors and 15 projects. Among them, 11 is an online platform for remote access to professionals, which brings future without an office closer. In our platform, you will be able to find the professional you need in categories, in subcategories, to see his or her value and availability, as well as what kinds of services he or she provides. Without leaving the office, you can save your time and money, considering that the traffic jams in big cities are unavoidable. On the other hand, for professionals, the benefit is that our service allows us to monetize our knowledge and competencies in a remote format. According to the founder's expectations, the service will reduce the time for obtaining a service twice. To understand when an expert is free, the access calendar function is introduced here. In addition, the platform operates a double rating system, both for professionals and their customers. First, you need to register, then you see a professional, see a biography, awards, and so on. If in general everything suits you, you can proceed further to see the rest of conditions. We have such kinds of communication, video chats, audio chats, and also messengers. For example, in addition to this basic functional, we have conference calls. The functional part of the online platform for remote access to professionals today is at the final stage of development and will soon be launched in the near future. After that, this company will be included in 120 projects, which by the most optimistic forecasts, the KASE startup platform plans to attract by the end of the year. Oleg He, journalist, publisher and media expert, specializes in studying branding and researching trends. The goal-oriented leader chooses the opposite course to transform the masses. He concentrates efforts on the transformation of extremes, people, actions and activities that disproportionately affects the efficiency of work, so he can change the strategic course quickly and at low cost. I would like to tell a little about the book Strategy of the Blue Ocean by Chiang Kim and René Mauborgne. This book says that you have to approach your work very creatively and not be afraid of experiments. In our life, which is now full of great changes, we can resist these changes. But the authors of the book say that look at this as creativity as possible and try to get out of the routine of your competencies that you learned yesterday. If we think that such practices are far from Kazakhstan, we can make mistakes. In fact, the strategy of the Blue Ocean already exists in Kazakhstan. It is enough to look at few examples. For example, commercial banks cease to be classical. They turn into IT companies competing with fintech. Any industry ceases to be classical. If we talk about media, about journalism, then we see that there are very great opportunities in studying trends or in branding. The essence of this book is that you need to stop looking at your industry as a traditional one. We need to look at the related industries and look for the possibility of combining them. At the junction, most likely, you will find a new value for your customers.
Вы найдете новую ценность для своих клиентов.
In boxing, as well as in business, it is very important to be able to hold a blow. And even if this blow is ground into the jaw, from which the legs are weakened, there is always a way to level out the force of the opponent's attack in the ring or competitor in the market to recover. A few years ago, such a business knockout was experienced by an entrepreneur and an amateur boxer, Miras Nurahmetov. His first startup, the service of smart notifications on the submission of tax reports, was burned out at the launch stage. But having collected the whale into a fist, our hero, together with his Russian partner Alexei Zarubin, launched a new project, a single platform for the search for language courses, linguahub.me. With this IT product, Miras and Alexei became finalists of the International Startup Kazakhstan 2018 competition, where they received $20,000 of seed investment. We are very actively looking for good specialists to join our team. We need partners, not only executors. We say that you can grow up and become a co-founder of our company if you meet certain conditions. Because a big project is not built by one person or two. It needs a good, strong team of professionals who are ready to risk their comfortable place now for the sake of a bright future tomorrow. The first version of the site was launched a year ago. Since then, more than 800 people have signed up for courses, and the attendance of the portal has grown to 2,000 users per month. Today, more than 100 specialized schools are partners of the service. Among them is Level Up Education, a network of centers for the study of foreign languages in Almaty. With the help of new technologies, they plan to increase attendance rates by 30%. Very few language courses that implement or have already implemented CRM platforms. This platform uses a combination of both CRM platform and the search for live customers who can go to this platform and get the necessary information about the courses. On the main page of the web resource, you can select one of 8 languages, define the training format and click on the Find Courses button. After that, the search sample opens where you can sort the schools into several categories. We recently launched an updated version of our platform for finding language courses. Now it consists of 2 parts. The first is for our users, the second is for our partners. In the user version of the system, the person who is looking for courses indicates the area, the budget and the level of language courses he's looking for. Multi-level search expands the sales for language centers and reduces the cost of leads of potential customers. In the framework of such a model of monetization, partners pay only for those users who clicked on their page. This is like replenishing the balance on Google AdWords. You filled in 100 clicks, and only when they click on you and go to your page, we debit money from your balance. You can replenish your balance by 50,000 tenge and use it for 2 or 3 months. Or you can, on the contrary, place hot courses and you will be clicked in 2 weeks, and accordingly you will receive more customers in a short time. For any startup, it is very important to follow the rule, either grow fast or die quickly. And even if you are the first in the market and in the KASE, with this platform to find language courses, you need to keep the position of the leader. Therefore, Miras Nurahmetov, together with his team, is already working out the skills of protection from the most unexpected and painful business strikes. The Austrian project of Robo Wunderkind, whose founder Rustem Akishbekov received $1,200,000 of investments. Previously, the startup already attracted $250,000 at Kickstarter in 2015. The main task of Robo Wunderkind is the integration of the game with teaching programming and robotics. The company offers to independently assemble robots from several modules and program it for a certain functionality. Give commands through special applications in a smartphone or a tablet. The Kazakhstani startup Clockstar returned from the international competition Seed Stars in Switzerland, where in 2018 more than 65 countries, 1,200 participants and 160 investors took part. According to the founders of the project, they did not take the prize but discovered the market of Southeast Asia. They received recommendations from mentors from the Philippines, Thailand and Malaysia.